What's up? It's Matt, and I'm not here with a giant cookie, but I'm here with the man responsible for the cookie, John from Sweet Street. What's going on?
Doing good. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing amazing. I'm going to be doing even better when I get to eat this when we're talking in a minute. So before we start talking business, tell everybody out there in the internet world, we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and good old Twitter. Tell us who you are and who you work with.
Sure. I'm John McLaughlin. I'm a regional sales manager for Sweet Street, and we have just about 350 to 400 items out there across the nation that people can choose from our company. We started 40 years ago in a garage. Sandy Solomon started this company out of her garage, just going into basically grocery stores and putting cookies in front of them and saying, would you like this? And they said, yeah, we'll sell it. And basically started the company from there. And it's, a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat and tears, and a lot of man hours to get that done. But here we are today, the benchmark of the industry, which is very nice to know that through 40 years, she's never slacked out on quality products or anything like that. It's always been the best ingredients. So. And
I can attest to that because I met you. I don't know if you remember this or not, but I met you the first time at the NRA show, National Restaurant Show, May of 2019. And the problem I had was I couldn't quit going by your booth. Like all the booths there, some of them have samples, some of them don't. But yours, your giant display, you kept seeing these giant chocolate chip cookies, the sea salt caramel ones, the brownies. And I would stop by for an occasional sample. I mean, I don't know, maybe 10 an hour. And one time you were there, I got to talking to you. We did a little interview, and the products are amazing. I mean, there's something that a lot of people probably don't realize they've had before in a restaurant that came from your company.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. Sweet Street's been kind of behind the scenes for many years. We've created products that are chef created. So we have like 16 chefs that work for us in the back, anywhere from 14 to 16 chefs that work in our R&D department. And their sole job every week is to come up with a new creation, competitive between each other. And eventually it gets released. The top of the tops do. But what's really unique is a lot of times we listen to our customers. We listen to the end users of what's going on out there. We go off of what's happening out in the industry with ingredients and ingredient statements, clean labels, things like that. So we really do listen to the consumer, and we do our research quite well. And that's all because of what Sandy's put together, of course, through these years, and her team that she's put together. I mean, I've only been with this team just a few years, and I can tell you that it's just astounding to the manpower, the amount of hours put into, and the dedication from the staff to make sure that behind the scenes, it looks like it's chef made or a really good quality cook made product, but it's really chef made. It is. And every product is really hand finished. That cookie you were eating, somebody pushed that dough into all those chocolate chunks. So that was physically pushed into chocolate chunks, and then it was put onto the tray.
It's unbelievable, by the way. And if you look at this, like what you're saying from a visual standpoint, if you go to some restaurants and you get a cookie, it looks like a cookie from a vendor. And this doesn't look like a cookie from a vendor. Like this, I would think like some grandma just made it in the back room at the restaurant. So before we dig into the products, because you guys were nice enough to send me 2 giant boxes of stuff, and I've already cheated a little and eaten a couple of them because they're so good. But we'll get into those a little later. But let's talk about the importance of the desserts and items like this at a restaurant, because I've seen it, and I've told the story many times that Papa John's a good example. Saturday night, my wife and my kids, daughter was home from college. She loves Papa John's pizza. And so she's the only one in the family that when she wants to order, she wants to go Papa John's. We all have local places, but she has to have a lot of Papa John's. So since she's home, we'll allow her to have her choice. We get Papa John's. One thing we get at Papa John's every time are their chocolate chip cookie pizza. And it's something that we were given free a few years back. And now we spent $12 on 2 of them because we had a couple extra people for Saturday night. But that was $12 the restaurant wasn't getting before they introduced that sweet treat to us. And I ate too much pizza to begin with. But I think our minds, we always have enough room for chocolate.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, I think it's great because, they did a good job of marketing themselves a few years back and really putting that out there. I mean, I think they probably ran a special when they first came out with that. And I know you've talked a lot about return on investment and what that means. And so I really appreciate when you talk about return on investment, because that's all what I do. Really, it's, it is an investment to maybe spend a little bit more money on a better tasting dessert. But really, the facts are the facts. That may be the last thing that you eat in that restaurant, or the thing that you're taking home to remind you of that restaurant. So when that's happening, that's so important. I mean, you don't want them to go home and taste a product that's inferior, because they're not going to want to go back. So what you do is you want them to taste something that wows them and says, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I want to take that home. I want a bite of that, and I can't wait until I get in the car because I'm going to sneak a bite," right? And so, and that's what it's about, right? It's like, I just want a bite of it right now, and I want to take it home, and I want to really eat it later, or whatever it may be. But right now, with COVID going on and everything else going on, that's your majority of people out there. You've got to capture those people. So whether it's on a website or whether it's on a menu still today, if they're walking up and they're ordering a menu, or if they're actually sitting down eating in an establishment, was go out there and people eat in establishments. Yeah. Please. No, but really it's wonderful out there, because our job is really easy once people try our product. And that's what it's all about. And like you said, when you tried it, you bite into it, you taste the butter in it, you taste all the different chocolates in there, from the dark chocolate to the milk chocolates to the the overseas chocolates and stuff like that, maybe a Honduran or Peruvian chocolates and stuff. So with all of that combination in there, it really is a rich product, and people can taste that. And that's what reminds them of that restaurant, is that type of ingredients in there.
And the margins are, this is where a meal can be made up, because if Papa John's, like you mentioned, ROI, they gave me that. I remember it. I got that free cookie pizza like probably 3 years ago, whenever they first came out with it. It was their promotion. I bet we've spent $1,000 on cookie pizzas the past couple of years from one free cookie pizza. And it's not even an option. It's a non-negotiable. But I think a lot of restaurants miss that, because that's I always tell people there's 3 ways to increase your sales at a restaurant: new customers, repeat customers, and increase your average check size. And what you guys put out there is the ideal way to increase the average check size, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when people walk into a restaurant, their goal a lot of times, unfortunately for me, is not, I'm going to get dessert. Yeah. For my wife it is, but for most normal people, they walk in and they want the center of the plate item, and that's what they're going in. Everything else is kind of filler around that, whether it be a salad, soup, appetizer, whether it's a dessert, whether it's a mixed drink and things like that. But usually when people sit down to have a dessert, which is really nice, is they can actually order a drink with that, because they're staying longer, whether it's coffee or a mixed drink. If that person doesn't order a drink or doesn't order a dessert next to them, they might order the extra cocktail too, because they're going to be sitting there anyway. Yep. So it is just a way, it is more time in the seat. And right now, more important than anything, if you have somebody sitting in the seat, you really need to get the volume out of that one seat as much as you can. So treat them right, treat them with the best, and give them what they want. I mean, let's face it, people buy for 3 reasons. I like what you said with the 3 items. I always say people buy because they want to make money, save money, or make somebody happy. And that's the reasons why people buy. That's their whole philosophy of going in. A lot of times with ours is to make people happy. I mean, for the restaurateur, it's really to make money, save money, or make somebody happy, because, Fred needs this, so we have to get it for him. Or if they're in there to make money, we show them how they can make that money off of this product. If they want to save money, we can show them how to take that same product and maybe use it in 4 different ways, and you're going to be saving it because you don't have all these extra items in stock. So that's the good thing about with our products. We're not just selling you products, we're selling you services. And I think that's really important to know.
So along those lines, that brings up a good point, because I know a lot of restaurants, the kitchen's the hardest thing, the staff, and good kitchen people, that they've got enough to worry about whether they're making your steaks or your lasagna or your whatever they're making in there. This is something they don't have to stock. I mean, like, I don't know what I was tasting in this. It was like there's salt, there's all sorts of great stuff. But to make that cookie, the items they would have to have, and then the prep work and the baking and then the storage, instead of saying, hey, you know what? Let's call up John at Sweet Street and let's make sure we have 30 of those in stock at every time. And then every week they get down to a level, reorder. It just probably makes it a lot easier, I would imagine. And I would imagine there's a heck of a lot less waste, unless you get a sticky finger kid like me that works in the back that finds these cakes can walk off occasionally.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the good thing is, consistency in any restaurant is very important, because you want to taste just the same way every single time. And that's really hard to do. It's really hard to do with a lot of things. Desserts, unless you have a pastry chef today, or you really have grandma in the back, like you said, that's been doing this for 30 years, it's very difficult because there's different cooking temperatures. The ovens are different. There's somebody leaves salt out this time, whatever it may be. Things can change really rapidly. Humidity can be a big play in some of your baking things. There's a lot of things when it comes down to how you're baking and what you're baking. So this takes it all away. This takes your labor down. This takes, people think about, well, it's going to cost a lot more, but you're not paying anybody to make it for you anymore. You don't have the cost and waste if somebody messes it up. It's literally comes in ready to go. It's gourmet made. Everything is done hand finished. Like I said, with that particular cookie, that every single thing that we make is basically hand finished. I mean, we have people that stand over big ganache, like chocolate ganache, and they actually drizzle over the cakes just like this, and they keep rotating around so they don't get tired of their job, and we keep everybody happy in the plant and everything. But these people, I mean, they're hand finishing every one of these products, so no product looks totally identical. That's why it's so incredible that when you go and see a cake, you may have 30 people that actually from start to finish made that cake, but that's the way it would be done. It's 30 steps that you may have had to take from making an individual cake. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of the consistency. I mean, I'm not a chef, so you talked about the humidity and different ingredients. I remember a guy that I know has a drink company, and he changed factories that made the drink locations in the country. And I remember getting the first batch, like, man, this tastes different. He's like, well, it's the water source. And so I had never, I mean, you've had Coke a million times in your life. It's always tasted like Coke unless you get the Mexican one. Then it's a little different. But this guy's drink profile changed a lot. And I could see from a dessert that if I'm a kitchen and you've got this guy making it 1 week and that guy 1 week, or maybe the ingredients are a little different, that could be a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What about food costs too, with all the different levels of food costs going up and down? What's kind of, I'll say this, and then of course, something will happen, but we have not increased our price in 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, our prices have been the same. That we have to increase them when it's time, and that's why I say, as soon as I say this, it's been 2 years. Gosh, we need to raise our prices anyway.
Nintendo's coming out.
It's coming out now. But anyway, just to say, really, we haven't had that big price increase. We're not fluctuating up and down on markets. We buy consistently. We buy well. We buy in advance, but we only buy the best. And so we take that pride in what we're doing on that. And that's why every time you'll get pure cane sugar that we're being used, or we're using 100%, hormone-free butter or cage-free eggs, things like that are out there consistently on a consistent basis with our manifesto products. So that's what's really neat.
So before we dig into these boxes, last question. One way that a restaurant can do a better job of selling desserts? Because one thing I've seen on my end, I mentioned before we were talking offline, I said, Joe, I deal with a lot of restaurant owners. And every week when I talk to them, one of our things in our digital program is that we have ways that, month 2 or 3, we trickle out a really good dessert offer, because we've seen that when somebody comes with that in their phone, they're already buying it. They're getting it for free or a discount, but it's the first initial step. And I always politely tell the owners, like, your servers, your staff are typically a little hurried. They're not the greatest salespeople. And they're like, no, they're terrible, Matt. Like, they just don't do a good job of it. That is a key element to getting people to buy desserts, though, is either, if most people don't have a product program like we have for restaurants, but what would you tell restaurateurs? Like, this is one or two things you can do to make it either easier on your staff or just make it more consistent to get more people to buy desserts.
Absolutely. Well, what's nice is, again, we're a service-ended and service result program that we have out there, that we help people with menus sometimes, because that's a big thing too. We've got a professional group out there in New York that actually helps produce some beautiful looking menus that have our products on there for the customer. And we'll make those up. And it's usually free of charge, depending on the size of the account and stuff and how many products they're using from us, with a little bit of criteria, of course. But that's one way to do it, is, of course, you have visual really does sell. If you can't have it there live in person, because you and I, as we were talking, we said, man, if you see like that dessert come as it's being walked through, that whole performance of it coming through, and maybe somebody throwing a flame on it or something, man, I want that, right? The old sizzling goes through, right? But it's the same concept. So if somebody sees it, they're going to want it. The other thing is you can start from the beginning. We not only do the menus, but just training, for the servers, because it is hard to train servers sometimes and get them to do things. We talked about like having, when a server comes up there, they should be selling from the get-go. Hey, just want to let you know we have some great desserts tonight. What are you guys really? Are you chocolate? Are you, what's your favorite dessert that you have out there? Let's find out, what it is, what their flavor profile is, because normally we tell people that you should have 4 different flavors to offer out there, right? Chocolate, right? We talked about that the last time. Chocolate, 60% of all people want chocolate. The other 40% of people either want citrus, cheesecake, or fruit and nut. So that's your other 40% are in those 3 categories. So if you offer one of each one of those type of flavors on your dessert menu, chances are you only have to sell one person at the table to get desserts, right?
Yeah,
get the whole deal. Everybody.
Once I see my wife gets something, or my son or daughter, it's dominoes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're going to get that. Well, then let me try this, and we'll try each other's, right? Yeah. Or, and that's what it is. And like I said before, if somebody's not going to have dessert, maybe they'll get an extra cocktail, maybe they'll get a coffee or something like that too, a port, whatever it may be, wherever you're at. So there's a lot of things to help drive those potential new sales that you weren't going to get by just starting from the beginning. Yeah. Here's what we have to offer, and find out what your customer is. Let's make a relationship with the person sitting in the table in front of you. Yeah. What's your favorite dessert that you like? We don't have that, but we have something close, something similar.
It could be cool to do. Now, granted, a little different nowadays, but it might be some way to do it is ask one of the people at the table, what's your go-to dessert? And they say chocolate. Maybe you have a pitcher, a little plastic cutout of one, and you put it on the table. Remind me to tell you about our cookies later on. I mean, that might be a good visualization that person's staring at that damn cookie and a nice little piece of plastic, and it gets around to it. So going back, and then we're going to dig into the products, to this thing you said there. If someone sees it, they want it. We had a client of ours, Rapid Fire Pizza. We're in a lot of the locations now, 30 plus. I think there's only like 1 or 2 in their whole system we're not in yet. But the second or third step of our program, depending on the location, is a dessert item. They have these dessert pizzas and dessert items, sticks. And I remember the first time we launched it, like the second month in, one of the owners called me up and said, dude, we're making 15 to 20 more a day than we were before. And he said, what's funny about it is only half of them are from your promotion. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, people come into it's a fast casual, kind of like the Chipotle. You walk in, you see it, you make it, you get to the end, you pay. So if people aren't predisposed to it, they aren't getting it. Well, your people are coming and going, hey, I want the triple bypass pizza, but also I want my free Cinesticks. And so they'll make the Cinesticks. Well, what's happening is the people behind them are going, hey, what is that? And they go, oh, it's our Cinesticks. Let me get one of those too. And he's like, literally, every time we make one, the person somebody behind him inevitably orders one. He's like, so he was telling me, because like your program's not getting all the credit because half the sales of people buying it in our store aren't in your program yet. He's like, it's pretty funny, but it goes back to what you said. If someone sees it, they want it.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about everything you guys have. Like you sent me, and thank you, by the way, you sent me a box of brownies, the Manifesto brownies, and then I've got all sorts of cookies here. This one I haven't tried yet, but this has to be amazing. Salted caramel.
Salted caramel crunch. That is awesome. That's a buttery cookie. You can really taste the butter in that.
Yeah. And then Zoe's Crunch, the Manifesto Blondie brownie. I guess that's a brownie. I don't know what that is. Oh, Toffee Crunch. Okay. My wife loves these, so these will go over well.
Marshmallow with brown butter and sea salt.
Yeah. Where's the one? I actually had this one earlier. I ate one of these earlier. Maybe I ate both.
Lemon blueberry?
It was the lemon. Yeah, the lemon.
Lemon blueberry. So, and what's unique about that one, the lemon blueberry, of course, we're using Maine blueberries in there, which are very small, petite blueberries, very sweet blueberries. Great empty package. I love it. Thank you.
It didn't survive the broadcast.
That's right. That's okay. But what's unique, so everything has its own story, but we are using like a really good blueberry in that product. And the lemon, a lot of times in some of our products, we use the Meyer's, the Meyer lemon curd in our products too, which is the benchmark of the industry. Yeah. So, there you go. If anybody wanted to go online and just check us out, the www.sweetstreet.com. And so two things that we just brought out too. You showed two of those products out there. The Zoe's cookie, the warm chocolate brownie that's out there, and then also the chewy marshmallow with brown butter and sea salt. Those are all gluten-free.
Gluten-free. Okay.
So which one have you got there? Is that the
salted caramel?
The salted caramel. That's an excellent choice. Yeah, I think you can taste the butter in that, right?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really. To me, that is. Well, hate to say it, cracking a sack for me. I get addicted. I can't even take one back after a show to my hotel room. Otherwise, it'll be gone.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, because the one time I do leave with these occasionally is First Watch. I go to First Watch once or twice a week, have breakfast, and they have them at their cash out. And that is one of the things I'll be like, okay, I'll take one of those, put it in the car. At some point, I'm going to get hungry.
Absolutely. And that's a nice thing is, I think with like First Watch has done a wonderful job, and they've really, just by adding that at their front counter, just their sales have really shot up with that. They weren't doing anything before. They put them at their front counter, and all of a sudden they've got, maybe $500,000 new sales or whatever that is. And that, don't quote me on that, but it's, it's done incredible for them and those folks that have taken that on.
Yeah. So. Well, I can see where like a lot of restaurants that, like we went to a Mexican restaurant last night and we already had eaten, but had I saw something like this, something with the good display on it, because you guys have both sides of it. They can have this in the back room. It comes out on a plate, or they have this out front and it's like a little retail for them. And when you start adding, what would this, a cookie like this retail for typically?
So I've, retail wise in the grocery stores, I've just put them in Minneapolis, all throughout Minneapolis, and about 50 units there. They're selling them for right around $2.49.
Okay.
For the cookie itself. And it costs the end user right around $1.10 maybe.
Yeah. So if I'm a restaurant and I have a situation where people can cash out like that, and I can add every third or fourth ticket $2.50, do that 10, 20 times a day, do that 365 days a year. I just gave my managers bonuses right there in cooking.
Absolutely. And the thing is again, the customer is walking away with something that is going to make them happy later that they visited that restaurant, right? And it's something that tastes really good. And I think that's more important than anything. It's what you're leaving the after effects with, because if it just tasted okay, their whole experience of that restaurant is what they're going to remember. Yep. And you know what, that center of the plate that they spent so many hours on working, and that special sauce that took years to perfect, and they walk away with, it's okay.
Yeah.
So when they walk away with, that was wonderful, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have had that last one, but this is what's good. To me, that's the icing on the cake, right?
And Michael Myers, somebody watching on Facebook, wants to know why you aren't eating too. I'm guessing you've probably had you've probably had your fill of these products. You got to have you got to have them up somewhere.
When I started this, I was probably 20, 30 pounds lighter. I'm going to be for real. It's crazy.
Yep.
I've really got to monitor myself. Thank you, Michael.
Well, cool. So if a restaurateur, somebody in the business wants to reach out to you guys, it's sweetstreet.com. And then any closing words before we wrap up?
Well, all I have to do is say, you know what, if you want to have the best ingredients, you want the best product, start with the best ingredients. And that's what we do as a company. That's what Sandy has always believed in. And from all of our staff and from all of us, we really want to help the experience in a restaurant and the people that go to that restaurant. We're really here to help. And that comes from everybody that's sitting in our offices, to our salespeople, to our chefs, to the people that are on the line. I mean, to know people that are actually making our products in-house, and for all the people that do things. I mean, we're a family of many, but we are a family of one, and we have one goal, and that's to make a customer happy and to put smiles on faces, along with helping people profit from that. And in the end run, they're going to make some money off of that. And yep. But who wouldn't enjoy it?
Well, I can attest. This right here, I can see. I'm glad I don't have like 50 of those. It might be. I'm going to the gym in like an hour, so that might be tough. But the product's amazing. I know you from a personal standpoint, Biran. You're an amazing guy. I can only imagine how awesome the rest of the company is. So if you're out there, restaurateurs, if you're looking for a product that you can sell at the register, sell as a dessert at your tables, make sure you look up Sweet Street and hit John up. And John, thanks for being on today's Expert Roundup.
Well, thank you again, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See you, everybody.